Good morning, everybody. It's me, Waddles. Welcome back to the Everything series. Can I show you my armadillo? Yeah, you know what? I'm pretty proud of it. You have now walked straight into the ultimate guide for the armadillo. Today, we're going to talk how to find, how to scoot, and even more. Sit back, tap like, and enjoy. To give the devs credit where credit is due, the story of the armadillo begins only about 6 months ago. Last year's Minecraft Live 2023, the mob vote, the armadillo was the big winner. At its initial reveal, we had none other than Jeb sailing backwards until he slammed into the armadillo, somehow apparently not harming it, instead ending up terrified. Leading up to the vote, we knew that the armadillo would be a new mob that would be found inside of the savanna biome. It would drop a scoot from time to time that could be used to armor our dogs. Fast forward a bit to nowadays, Java 1.20.5 or Bedrock 1.20.80, and the armadillo has made its grand appearance into Minecraft. First things first, if you're looking for the armadillo, it's time to set out on an adventure. There are actually a couple of biomes that you could head into to find the armadillo. The first one being the savanna. Now, from my interactions with this little guy, and big emphasis on little, the armadillo is a smaller mob, going to be quite a bit smaller than, say, a sheep or a pig, but from my experience with this guy, it's not all that rare at all. If you can find a savanna biome that is like a decent size, well, with a little bit of patience, you should be able to find yourself an armadillo. Now, on its own, the armadillo is a passive mob. It will just kind of walk around in the world, doesn't really seemingly care about you that much, that is, until you start running around. The armadillo is a passive mob, but it's also a very timid mob. If you sprint near the armadillo, it'll detect you and jump up into this tiny little ball shape like that. After a little bit of time, it'll pop its head out, and as long as you're not running or didn't hurt it, or something scary isn't nearby, it'll pop back out of the ball and go back to wandering around. Now, speaking of wandering around and just in general existing, can we take a look at this little guy's animations for a second? Look at him. When he walks, it's so adorable. This might be Minecraft's like most perfect mob because when it walks, it actually like waddles and turns side to side. It's such a subtle thing, but like they were cooking with this guy. It's so good. You actually do have another option when it comes to finding the armadillo, the Badlands biome. These guys will spawn here too. So once you've completed the task of actually successfully locating an armadillo, if you're looking to bring it back home and you want it to just follow you straight up, Spider Eye is going to be the big ticket item. While holding a Spider Eye and walking, the armadillo will lock onto you and follow you, just like how other mobs in Minecraft will follow you if you hold their liked item. However, if you try and speed things up and run, even if you're holding a Spider Eye, the armadillo freaks out and no longer will follow you. When it's in this shell thing and you're running around continuously, it's going to stay in its shell thing until you stop running around. Now, because of its timid nature, using spider eyes to lure the armadillo around might not be very efficient. That's where the lead comes in. Maybe the better way to move the armadillo around is with a lead. If you put an armadillo on a lead and start running around, the armadillo doesn't have the chance to go into the shell and freak out. It actually, like, you literally can't go into the shell and be scared while it's on a lead. That'll mean if the armadillo is scared and inside of its shell, well, put a lead on it, and it's immediately forced out of it, and it'll follow you. Now, if you're anything like me, you probably want to move it back to your base, so maybe use a lead to lure it near a large body of water, then put the armadillo inside of a boat, something like that, jump into the boat, and sail off into the sunset. Next up, of course, only for science, health. Armadillos have a total of 12 health. That's not very much. That'll mean 2 hits from a diamond sword without any criticals at all will unfortunately send the armadillo to its end. When the armadillo is inside of its shell, it actually has a little bit more protection. If you hit the armadillo like this, like with your fist when it's closed up, it's not actually taking any damage. You could do this indefinitely and say maybe like play a little bit of Dillo Ball or something. More on that later though, stay tuned. However, on that damage note, when the armadillo is balled up, it doesn't mean it doesn't take any damage at all. If you have a damage source that deals a little bit more damage, like let's say a sword, then this math equation is used to calculate how much damage the armadillo will take. If you want the armadillos to make sweet love, the item of choice is this spider. Oh, and look at this perfect timing. The lad over here is not going to last very long up on the surface, but it's a scary mob, more specifically an undead mob. If an undead mob gets near an armadillo and the armadillo like detects it, it will go into the shell and hide until the undead mob moves far enough away. If the buddy comes back out here, I think he might be gone. Aha, there you are. Once the buddy comes back out and gets close to the armadillo again, they'll hide. The undead mobs will never attack the armadillo though, but they just know they're like creepy and weird and probably shouldn't exist. Now, this is only going to apply for undead mobs, so something that is very equally as dangerous, a creeper or maybe a warden. It's not technically undead, so the armadillo, I couldn't be bothered at all. Another interesting thing about this whole undead mob detection thing is the armadillo does not need a line of sight with the undead mob. If I had a skeleton sitting down below here, eventually this buddy should notice it. Come on, you're embarrassing me. Alright, well, to be honest, their vertical detection range is not as much as their horizontal one. But anyways, you can see that the armadillo would never see the skeleton with this setup, but it still knows that it's nearby and will hide. And same with that one over there. And a mechanic that is usually pretty forgotten because of Armadillo's scoot, an item directly related to the armadillo. This guy is pretty much just like the chicken. Every 5 to 10 minutes at random, the armadillo will drop a piece of scoot almost just like how a chicken will lay an egg randomly. Back over in the safety of home sweet home, that'll mean with such a beautiful mechanic like that, the armadillo just doing it instinctually, inherently, making an armadillo farm is actually insanely easy. To make the most simple, fully automatic armadillo farm, place an armadillo on a hopper, surround it with blocks so it doesn't go anywhere, put a chest right there, and voila, you've got your armadillo farm. If you'd like to speed it up a little bit, maybe consider getting more armadillo inside of this thing and basically just having them exist, live their entire life inside of one single hopper all crammed together. Oh, that is some spicy quality of life, isn't it? Perhaps a more ethical method when it comes to armadillo scoot harvesting involves this buddy and an archaeology brush of all things. If I walk up to an armadillo with a brush and use the brush on the armadillo, it'll actually brush off a layer of scoot. Even better, there is no cooldown at all. No cooldown made it into the update. Now sure, the brush doesn't last very long on Minecraft Java 4 scoot, on Bedrock 5 scoot, but still, no cooldown at all. For the recipe that involves the armadillo scoot, you're gonna need a total of like 6 of these things, which means 2 brushes. That'll more than do the job. This is where maybe you would want to consider taking your brush and putting a little bit of unbreaking on it. Put Unbreaking 3 on the brush, and of course, you're gonna be able to get a little bit more scoot than normal. Also, check that out. Durability is consumed entirely differently. I can brush this thing for like, essentially forever. Also, whether the armadillo is scared or not, it doesn't matter. It could be balled up inside of that cube, or it could just be walking around and you're still going to be able to brush the armadillo. 1 Unbreaking 3 brush, 17 armadillo scoot. That's a little bit more than 4. And for the perfect cross between automation and ethics, take your good old-fashioned automatic armadillo farm, walk up to it and use the brush every once in a while, and yeah, you kind of get the best of both worlds. You do it super fast, and in no time, you got more scoot than you could ever need. Oh, and in a fact that I almost entirely forgot about, this spider eye, the armadillo absolutely loves it. If you'd like to speed up the growth of the baby armadillo, which is absolutely, like, minuscule, it's super tiny, adorable, by the way. If you want to speed up the growth of it, it's spider eye. Each spider eye fed to a baby armadillo should decrease its growth time by 10%. Anyways, back to that topic of armadillo scoot. You're not ever really going to need very much armadillo scoot because unfortunately it only has one use as of Minecraft 1.20.5. Inside of a crafting table with 6 armadillo scoot, you go ahead and craft yourself the brand new, most overpowered armor in the entire game, wolf armor. Wolf armor, of course, is for the wolf. If you have a tamed dog and it's sitting down, walk up to it, go ahead and use the armor on the dog and it will equip it. Now this armor right here, oh, it's insane. As sort of the companion episode to this episode of the Everything series you're watching right now, it would be the dog episode on it. In the dog episode, near the end of it, we did a deep dive on the new dog armor, dyeing and how it resists damage and everything like it. After all, the topic is a little bit more related to dogs. So check that episode out next if you're looking to learn a little bit more of the details when it comes to this dog armor. But real quick here, dog armor is going to basically absorb all damage before the dog will take any damage at all. That means this poor buddy right here burning, who set it on fire? Well, it actually feels nothing. The armor is taking all the damage. Maybe this incident happens, you know, occasionally to the best of us, a small accident with explosives. Well, the dog, again, it felt nothing at all. But at this point, take a look at the armor. It's looking pretty worn out. I guess there is another use for armadillo scoot, and that's going to be fixing up your wolf armor that's damaged. Kind of like an iron golem. When this armor is worn out and starting to break, there's a visual indicator of cracks. Walk up to a dog with armor on it and use armadillo scoot on that armor. The scoot will be consumed, the armor will be repaired. The armadillo, of course, has got its practical technical uses, but it also has quite a bit of fun uses too. For example, armadillo ball, dillo ball for short. Over here is going to be goal number 1. Over there is going to be goal number 2. You would have 2 teams. With an armadillo, you go ahead and hit it once. It goes into the ball. It'll stay in the ball. Then you go ahead and try and hit it from side to side. Get it into the goal. And just like that, I got a point. Other team is bad. All of a sudden, I flip sides and I'm on the other team. And, you know, you kind of get the same concept. Like, I'm running around and hitting the armadillo and sending it from one side over to the other side. Now, maybe we want to get a little bit more extreme in the future with Dillo Ball. The wind charge. Use a wind charge, hit the armadillo, and you could bounce the buddy around even farther. This could actually lead to some pretty interesting, like, Dillo Ball mechanics. I can't wait to see maybe, like, the Hermits or somebody on the server make a Dillo Ball game and use the wind charge with the armadillo to, like, actually do something pretty cool. Now, the armadillo is a sweet mob. It has no natural enemies. Like, it's not going to go out and attack anything. Also, nothing will naturally attack this thing. But the armadillo doesn't know that. Definitely. The spider. Ugh, very disgusting. Also super annoying. No offense. I'm so sorry. The armadillo. What is its favorite food? Oh, yes, that's right. Spider eye. And the spider knows that. Kind of like how cats scare creepers or wolves scare skeletons, the armadillo will actually scare the spider. If a spider is near an armadillo and the armadillo isn't balled up, the spider is going to freak out and run away. The armadillo will never, like, naturally, like, hurt the spider or the cave spider. But the spiders, like, don't know it, and they absolutely hate it. That means you could maybe use the armadillo to, like, speed up your spider farm rates or something. Guide a little buddies over to your slaughtering pen, or maybe with a combination of armadillos and boats stationed around your base. A great way to spider-proof the space. Maybe, finally, a great way to keep these guys away for good. And so, the armadillo, perhaps modern Minecraft's fastest developed mob, going from idea to actually in the game in the span of about 6 months. If you know something else about the armadillo that maybe I missed or something, that's cool. Throw it down below. And next up, I highly recommend that dog episode because those buddies are new too and very, very beautiful. Thank you all so much for watching. Tap that like button. And oh, you want a bonus fact, don't you? Well, when it comes to bonus facts today, I don't have very much, but I do have an interesting description from the official Minecraft website calling this mob a neutral mob, even though it's definitely a passive mob. Neutral mob means the mob will eventually attack something if it's provoked, but yeah, it never does that. I wonder if that's just a typo, or maybe potentially a future hint that something will be added that the armadillo is going to hate. Anyways, that's all I got. Thank you all so much for watching, and a huge thank you to my patrons, The Duke, Pixie Phantom, Awkward Burb, Deb K, and Faithful Grimoire. Until next time, it's been me, Armadillos. Goodbye.